Supermassive Games told us they were going to space, and I called it a gimmick. I said the fixed camera horror that built the studio was their entire soul, and trading it for the over-the-shoulder controls was going to gut what made Dark Pictures special. I was wrong for the most part, but not entirely. Directive 8020 launched, and I put together roughly 9 hours across 2 playthroughs on the PS5 Pro and PC. Reviewers are dancing around the one thing that this game lives or dies on: the Mimic, the single mechanic that was supposed to make trust feel weaponized, and I'm going to tell you exactly how close they got and what they whiffed on and whether this is actually worth your $60. So let's get into it. Directive 8020 is the kickoff to season 2 of the Dark Pictures Anthology, and right out of the gate is swinging at a different weight class than the Man of the Medan and the Devil in Me. You're on the Cassiopeia, a sleeper colony ship that was sent to scout humanity's last shot for a new home once Earth tapped out. The crew wakes up early, the ship was wounded, and there's a thing on board that wants to eat your face. Think Alien if you let the thing crash the wedding, with the event horizon lurking in the back of the chapel. 8 episodes and roughly 7 to 10 hours depending on how thorough you are. I played it with race tracing enabled, and it was the best looking game Supermassive has ever shipped. The big architectural change is real-time third-party over-the-shoulder controls. You walk, you crouch, you whip out a flashlight. If you ever played Dead Space or Alan Wake 2, your hands already know where to go. On paper, this should kill what made Dark Pictures Dark Pictures. Those gorgeous fixed camera angles, the cinematic suffocation. But here's what I keep coming back to. It works because Supermassive let the camera breathe when it matters. The security camp sequences alone, where you're flipping between feeds trying to track the threat, that's some of the most inspired horror direction that I've seen so far yet this year. Bookmark this footage because nobody is talking about it enough. The cast is where the game punches above its budget. Lashana Lynch and Danny Sapani are giving you actual performances, not voiceovers, not face cap, actual cinematic acting. The crew, however, is more uneven, a couple of supporting roles that really read flat, like they were directed over a Zoom call, but the leads really carry it. And when the writing slows down and let these characters actually collide, this is the strongest Supermassive script in the game since Until Dawn. Now, things do get a little ugly, and that's the stealth in the game. Supermassive has built an entire pillar on stealth games, and this, and I'm being really generous here, is very middling. You crouch, you reroute power, you slip past a patrol that walks the same loop over and over again. You crawl through another vent. The first one is tense and you feel a little bit of a thrill. The fourth one is a chore. The 8th one is when I start checking my phone because I got a little bored. There's a parry mechanic on the default difficulty that actually trivializes getting caught, so the danger evaporates the second you figure out the mechanic. They leaned hard into this being a stealth game instead of keeping the fixed camera cinematic DNA, and I can't pretend that trade didn't hurt the game, because it really did, unfortunately. But here's the bigger problem, the one reviewers are dancing around so far. It's the Mimic system, the shapeshifter. This idea was supposed to make every conversation in the game a knife fight. In my entire playthrough, I can count the moments where I was certain I was talking to a Mimic on one hand. The anxiety in the game is atmospheric, they did nail that feeling, but the actual mechanic paying off is really rare. It almost never happened. You scrutinize every interaction, you suspect everyone, and most of the time in the game just moves on. The fear is consistent, but the reveal never comes. It's not that big of a deal breaker, but it is the big difference between a great horror game and a generational one, and Supermassive left that one on the table. And one more thing to note, there is a scene in the tree menu, a visible map of every branch in an episode, and it is trivially accessible. One button, no spoiler warning. I glanced at it once in episode 2 and immediately knew which scenes had a death gate and which didn't, which kills the tension dead in its tracks. If you played this game, and you probably should, do me a favor and pretend that menu doesn't exist until you finish your first run playthrough. So what's actually new in the game? This is the part I generally did love, the turn point system. When a character dies, and they will die, there's no avoiding that, the game lets you rewind directly to a pivotal moment. Open a timeline menu, pick the scene, and replay it. No save scumming, no full chapter restart. It's elegant, it's surgical, and it fundamentally changes how you experience a branching game. You can play survivor mode if you want the original Dark Pictures sting, where every death is permanent, or explorer mode where you treat the game like the choose your own adventure puzzle box that it actually is. and the branches matter. After one playthrough, my menu said that I had seen 58% of the scenes. There are 44 unique character deaths buried in here. Decisions you make in episode 1, small conversational throwaway feeling choices, come back in episode 7 in ways I generally did not see coming. From a construction standpoint, this is the most ambitious that Supermassive has ever written. It's not perfect. Locking certain dialogue choices behind invisible trait meters feels like a guessing the wrong door, but the bones are world class. Back to some of the rough edges of the game did have a couple more, and I'm not gonna dance around them either. The directional audio is busted. I ran it through surround headphones, and I could not consistently tell where a voice was coming from, which is mildly distracting in a conversation and actually dangerous in the stealth section. Facial animation is some of the best that the studio has produced ever, but in certain lighting, the uncanny valley creeps in hard, and I actually caught a handful of performance stutters on the PS5 Pro, even with the latest patch. None of this is fatal, but if you're a player who lives or dies on technical polish, you know what you're walking into now. So where does this leave us? Final thoughts, Directive 8020 is a step forward from the Dark Pictures Anthology. It's not the ceiling, it's not Until Dawn 2, but it's actually the most technically ambitious thing that the studio has ever shipped, and the branching writing is generally the best in its class. The trade-off is real. You lose some of that fixed camera cinematic soul, but you gain some stealth sections that don't really carry their weight. The mimic premise is half cooked. It was a great idea, but it needs some more work. The scene tree spoils itself. The audio is a mess, but the performance, the security camera direction, the turn point system, and the sheer density of the branches is honestly refreshing in an industry that's obsessed with squeezing every dollar out of you to see a studio actually trying something new with the budget that they had. If you loved Until Dawn, buy this game. If you bounced off of Devil and Me, buy it. This is a bounce back. If you are new to the Dark Pictures, this is actually a great entry point, and you don't need to play any of the previous games to get into this. If you wanted Dead Space, this is not this game. Full stop, go somewhere else for that. I can confidently say that Directive 8020 is the most interesting of Supermassive game in the last 5 years. It's not the best one, but it is one that's actually trying to push the formula forward, even where it stumbles, and it does a little bit. There's a brutal but beautiful idea underneath of something that I want to see them expand more in the future. If you got something out of this review, drop a comment with your verdict. I want to know if the mimic mechanic landed harder for you than it did for me. I stream constantly Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, 9:30 Eastern time. Link is in the description along with my Discord and all my other channels. Come hang out, talk games, and grind with the community. I would love to have you there. Stay fast, stay safe, stay lethal, and as always, stay alpha. Catch you in the next one.